So, recently I made a video about Dying Light, and I mentioned the possibility of a Dying Light 3. Well, as of today, I stand corrected, as Techland just released a teaser online called Dying Light the Beast. Originally, the news broke because of a leak online of a new trademark that was made by Techland, and until Gamescom 2024, we won't really have any idea as what we could be looking at in terms of what this is. But today, I want to break down the teaser and talk about what some of the theories might suggest that this could be. So, for copyright reasons, I will just describe the teaser for you using pictures and my descriptive, beautiful words because YouTube might not let me use the teaser in my video, and I don't want to work on the entire video just to have to go back and edit. So, I will just show pictures and describe to you what's going on. And honestly, if you really want to go watch it, IGN has a video out on it, so, I mean, you should just go watch IGN's full 30-second clip of the teaser trailer. It's not that long of a clip, and Jeff Keighley has teased that it will be shown during opening night live, so let's just get into what it is, alright? So, the teaser takes place out in the middle of the woods, and it follows a girl who is being filmed and recorded. She will play with like a ring and do some spins and stuff. It kind of gives you the vibe of like a home movie that you would see in like the 70s. It has like this really old song playing, and so she sits down in the grass and she hears a growl. And so it pans away from this happy little home video that it started out to be, and she starts to run. And while she's running, her cameraman is attacked and killed. And eventually she stumbles across dead animals and her dead cameraman being strung like upside down in a tree. And she'll turn and look at the camera and say, "Help me," before being killed. And it says, at the end of the video, it says, "The beast is coming." So, again, it's really not that much information, but I still do want to talk about what like the discussions have been as to what this could be, what theories could this be suggesting for, like whether it's a whole new game, is it a DLC expansion? We're going to get into that, and we're going to get into what my thoughts are on it. So the first one right out of the bat, I'm just going to knock this out right away because I think this is the least likely thing that it could possibly be. A lot of people are suggesting that this could be Dying Light 3, and this is where I say I stand corrected because in my video that I made a couple days ago, I said that Dying Light 3 might not be until years from now, and I still feel the same way about that. I find that it is very unlikely that this is Dying Light 3 because Dying Light 2 just released like 2 years ago. There is no way in hell they're going to be releasing another game, especially when they had a 5-year roadmap for all the content they wanted to do. They're not going to miss out on all of that money on all the microtransactions just for another game. No, I don't think it's going to be Dying Light 3. And this is also supported by recent interviews that some of the developers have done with other YouTubers, and I find that it's very unlikely that they would be working on another game without even releasing its very first big expansion for Dying Light 2. I mean, with Dying Light the Following, they released this big expansion that was almost like its own game. So for Dying Light 2 not to have that, I mean, they had that arena expansion, but I wouldn't even consider that a big expansion. That just added a whole arena. It's kind of like a mini game to the main game. You know what I mean? So, again, I doubt that Dying Light 3 is even a possibility in this case. As much as I would love it, I just feel like it's way out of left field. And for them to skip over a big expansion and just go straight to Dying Light 3 would just be way too soon and just completely out of left field. I would love another entry into the franchise, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a third game. What I really do think it's going to be is I think it's going to be Dying Light 2 DLC. Again, this feels so much more likely that it's going to be a DLC expansion for Dying Light 2. There actually are some theories online as to what this trailer might be. And so, for starters, Kyle Crane. A lot of people have been theorizing for years now, since the game's launch, that Kyle Crane will be coming back as the Night Hunter. And this is something that the developers have expressed interest with. They have said many times that they want to go back and explore his story. So I think this is going to be their way of doing that. At the end of Dying Light, the last time we saw Kyle Crane was that he turned into a sentient volatile. And we haven't seen anything of him since that Dying Light the following. And a lot of the developers have said that there have been ideas tossed around, and a lot of fans have found Easter eggs hidden in the game's files that would tell us what the official fate of Kyle Crane was. And you can hear it through a couple of audio recordings. I couldn't personally find them, but they talk about a creature that is so dangerous that people are extremely afraid of it. And it's not just the volatiles, it's worse than the volatiles. And I think that this is hinting at Kyle Crane. Yeah. If this is a giant expansion for Dying Light 2, I kind of feel like they would go this direction with it. I feel like they would bring Kyle Crane back to get a lot of the old Dying Light fans back, because there are a lot of new fans, but so many of the older fans love the original game. And for me, like, Dying Light 2 had a lot of problems, especially on launch. It was very broken. There was, people couldn't even play the game for the most part. And the first DLC they did, that's when I stopped playing. It was right after, because I'd gotten all the achievements for Dying Light 2, and then the arena map came out, and I was just like, nah, I'm good. And then the currency system was kind of the final nail in the coffin for me, but hopefully with this DLC we can finally see some kind of crossover between Kyle Crane and Aiden. And maybe we'll get to see Aiden in a new city that is affected by the GRE virus. And maybe this is also where Kyle Crane will come into play. We saw that he was mentioned by Spike in the beginning of the game, so maybe they'll finally bring this full circle and we can see Crane and Spike see each other again after so long. What I'm expecting for sure is a new story following Aiden. And maybe Crane will play this kind of werewolf character where he is normal during the day and at night he turns into a volatile. And when he meets Aiden, he tells him to stay away because he's dangerous, and then at some point in the story, we'll finally see Crane turn into a volatile. Maybe he chains himself up at night to stop himself from hurting people, who knows, but I don't know. I still think that this is going to have a huge thing to do with Kyle Crane because they call it the Beast. And that is exactly what Kyle Crane turned into at the end of Dying Light the following. I would definitely love to see this expansion take place outside of Dying Light 2's setting. I would love to see a new environment, new areas, because I feel like I've played the same area over and over and over again, and it all just kind of merges together. So to see it in a less crowded area, kind of like what the following was, but in a perfect middle, if you know what I mean. I would love to see something like that for this expansion, and I hope that's something that they do. Because so far in Dying Light 2's story, this Night Hunter has kind of been like a myth character. And maybe we'll finally get to see a good send-off for both characters, for Crane and for Aiden. And then we'd be able to move on to Dying Light 3, because, right now there's so many open plot threads with this game that I feel like moving on to Dying Light 3 is just not the best move for Techland. And that's why I believe that this is just going to be a giant expansion that follows Aiden and Kyle Crane. But those are just my thoughts on this. We'll have to wait until Gamescom 2024 before we see more information. We won't have to wait long for that announcement because it's supposed to be made during the opening night of the conference. But again, that's all I really have to say. I just want to thank you all for watching this, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. I'm working on a video that will be talking about my most anticipated games for Gamescom. That will be coming in the following days, and maybe you'll find something in that video that you're excited for too. Also, don't forget to let me know what your thoughts are down below. Do you think this is going to be Dying Light 3, or do you think that this is going to be Dying Light 2 expansions? But again, thank you all for watching, and have a good night.